Welcome to Danbury, Connecticut. This wonderful, multicultural small city. This tapestry woven from so many textures and so many colors and the sounds of so many vibrant tongues.
Danbury's history comes replete with the stories of brave people, people born here in America and Americans in training. After all, this is the goal of all who arrive in Danbury from elsewhere on earth. Some of the sacrifices which Danbury residents have made involve violent conflict, war. Some of the sacrifices which Danbury residents have made and continue to make involve peaceful opposition to war. And some of our resident American heroes have been on both sides of this equation. These include our local Veterans for Peace chapter. They and their supporters have stood strong for the use of military force only as a last resort. Just as violence only begets violence, preemptive strikes only beget preemptive strikes. Here are two special Congressional Medal of Honor plaques placed in memory of two Danbury area residents. Nathan Hickok, who was killed in action during the final months of the Civil War, September 29, 1864. And First Lieutenant Lee Hartel, killed in Korea on August 27, 1951.
This is the Veterans Memorial Walkway, dedicated July 27, 1994, by the Greater Danbury Area Chapter of the Korean War Veterans Association. Now we're standing at attention at the memorial to the Korean Armistice. Names of those from the Danbury area whose lives were ended in Korea are on this plaque. Since only the United States Congress is granted the power to declare war by Article 1 of the United States Constitution, the Korean conflict was referred to as a police action. Now we're standing at attention at the memorial to the Vietnam Peace Treaty. The names of those from the Danbury area whose lives were ended in Vietnam are on this plaque. As in Korea, 3 United States presidents chose to sidestep the power to declare war by Article 1 of the United States Constitution, which is solely vested in the United States Congress. It is at this memorial where our Veterans for Peace chapter, led by those who have served both stateside and in the line of fire, conduct a vigil from 10:30 a.m. until noon each Saturday. The purpose of the vigil is twofold.
To remember and to honor the sacrifice of those who served, and to serve the living. All Americans understand that dissent is the greatest form of patriotism. Without the expression of dissent, when our government has chosen to demean both our Constitution and those who have died in defense of the Constitution, their sacrifice would have been in vain. Veterans for Peace welcomes everyone to our Saturday morning vigils, which, as of July 4th, 2008, have been held for 76 consecutive weeks. Those who take a different point of view are also welcome. With reasoned and reasonable discussion, we look to find common ground on the issues which face us as Americans. After all, we are all Americans, and all of us love our country. Expressions of respect for our troops which have been demeaned during the Iraq War include the following: the cutting of funding for continuing medical care to our proud sons, daughters, mothers, fathers, aunts, uncles, and even some grandparents. They have earned the best of care. The cutting of funding for continuing education to our proud sons, daughters, mothers, fathers, aunts, uncles, and grandparents who have served proudly in Iraq. The cutting of funding for housing to our proud sons, daughters, mothers, fathers, aunts, uncles, and grandparents who have served proudly in Iraq. Just as many Vietnam veterans have been homeless since they returned home, many of our Iraq veterans have been treated with the same disdain by the administration. Congress has now begun to address this issue. Refusal of the current administration to allow caskets of U.S. heroes to be visually displayed. Our proud sons, mothers, daughters, fathers, uncles, aunts, and grandparents have been flown back into the United States under cover of darkness to deny our God-given right to honor and mourn them openly.